It is the 7th day of January. Welcome to KUTV and welcome to this live broadcast. Our reporters have been up and about interacting with different issues and different people, and they have brought you different stories tonight. Here are the top ones.
We are calling for a strike in the next 14 days.
Union of Clinical Officers gives government 14 days ultimatum before striking. Finger pointing on abductions continues to fill the air despite release of abductees. Patients stranded in Kenyaga as health workers strike over unpaid salaries. And President Ruto attends the inauguration ceremony of Ghana's President John Mahama. This is KUTV Primetime News with Mutegi K. Martin. And Lucy Carrier joins us in the sign language interpretation tonight. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, the beginning of the year 2025 has seen President William Ruto's government being pressured by various groups across the country. These groups have issued ultimatums to the government, threatening to go on strike if their demands are not met. The most recent is the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, KUKO, which has given the government a 14-day ultimatum threatening to strike if the government does not fulfill their previous agreements.
Forever, for the union makes us strong.
The government is increasingly being pressured by lecturers, clinical officers, and university students, all threatening to go on strike if their demands are not met.
Comrades Ria, Comrades Ra, Comrades Tibin.
The most recent is the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, who have given the government a 14-day ultimatum, blaming it for not honoring the return to work agreement signed on September last year. The clinical officers have also voiced their dissatisfaction of being sidelined in the Social Health Authority.
The ministry and the county governments have not fully implemented the return to work agreement, given that the deadline for implementation was the first day of September 2024. We have done numerous letters, they have refused to respond. And so we are saying they're in breach of the return to work agreement of the year 2024. And that is why we are here today to call them to account, and by that declare that we are calling for a strike in the next 14 days. All the clinic officers under the 47 counties, under the Ministry of Health, under Kenyatta National Hospital, under KUTRH, under Madhari Hospital, under MTRH, shall proceed on strike as from the midnight of 19th January 2024.
University students are also demanding the release of help students' loans, or else they will embark to the streets on 15th January.
I'm stating it categorically today. Comrades, yes. Power. Comrades Ria. We are announcing that immediately the comrades of this country from all the universities, including the lecturers, including the student leaders, including all students from all walks of life, they are going to stage demonstrations in the Republic of Kenya. Comrades Ria.
The students have also pushed the government to resolve the ongoing disagreements with lecturers, who similarly issued the government with a 15-day ultimatum on New Year's Day. The lecturers claim that the government has failed to honor their agreements for the second time now.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
As The ultimatum issued by the clinical officers, lecturers and university students approached deadline. All eyes are now on President William Ruto and his government to see whether he will implement their demands or whether the strike and protest will erupt. Blue Smile Hassan, KUTV.
Despite 5 Kenyans who were abducted being found alive, the whole contentious issue of abductions in the country has continued to evoke mixed reactions among Kenyans and political leaders alike. On one side, a section of Kenyans continued to accuse the government of irresponsibility, while the other hand, some political leaders insist that the abductions might have been staged. Our senior political reporter James Baraka has kept an eye on the whole issue of abduction, where finger-pointing and shifting blames has intensified, with the 5 freed abductees remaining hesitant to speak about their experiences. And here is his report.
Kenya as a country has recently experienced a notable rise in abductions, a scenario that has elicited mixed reaction and widespread concern among the public.
It is now or never.
Human rights organizations and leaders alike. This abduction quagmire, which gained significant attention at the heat of the Gen Z-led protest against the Finance Bill 2024 and the then heavy quest for government transparency and accountability,
I concede,
is now seemingly fixed in a tug of war between the government and its critics.
The government cannot even account.
The most recent incident that has sparked national concern is that of the 5 abductees released earlier this year, who appeared to be physically healthy upon their release, with their psychological condition, however, remaining unclear.
I've been going through psychological trauma, and I'm not ready to talk much to Kenyans. Niko kwenye matibabu.
The silence from the freed abductees on the abduction has, however, fueled rumors and raised mixed reactions, some claiming that their silence is a result of psychological trauma they endured during their captivity, as others suggest that their disappearance may be part of a political staging aimed at destabilizing the government and inciting unrest. The entire abduction quagmire remains a thorn in the flesh in the country, with finger-pointing over the whole issue continuing to frustrate Kenyans. But amidst all the accusations, the main question still remains: who really are the abductors?
Serikali imesema si wao. Ni sawa.
James Baraka for KUTV.
Patients in Kirinyaga County have been left stranded as health workers in Mururi Medical Center downed their tools, citing salary delays stretching over 8 months. The crisis has disrupted services, forcing patients to seek help elsewhere.
At Mururi Medical Center in Kirinyaga County, over 30 patients have been advised to seek medical care elsewhere after health workers halted services due to an 8-month delay in salary payments. Nancy Muriuki, a nurse at the facility, described the decision to abandon patients as heartbreaking but necessary, citing the inability to survive without pay. Workers claim that despite multiple appeals to management, the only response given is that NHIF and SHIF funds have not been disbursed. However, they allege that the hospital has indeed received funds, but is deliberately withholding their dues.
We've been claiming for our salary for many months na hatujalipwa. Sasa tunataka tulipwe, hatuendelee na kazi kama hatujalipwa. Ile risks ya kila mara next week, we are tired of it. Tunataka immediate action. We are ready for the next move. If it is for petition, we are ready.
Joy Karen, another health worker, shared how the prolonged delay has left many unable to afford basic needs, with some workers even losing their homes and struggling to keep their children in school.
The first month they expected to be paid, but I was not paid. Sasa ikaendelea hivi ikafika mpaka hizo 4 months zimeisha, sijapata mshahara, niko na mtoto, napaswa kulipa rent. Mama wangu anaona shida ya pressure, bado anataka pesa. Na ukikuja hapa kwa directors wanakuambia next week. Na chino hii next week haifiki. Hata patient wako hapa ndani wanatuhitaji, lakini sisi hatuwezi fanya kazi bila hiyo pesa. Ukienda kumuuliza atakwambia sisi hatujalipwa, we are still pushing. Unashindwa, unasikia kwenye hospitali zingine wanasema wamelipwa.
The workers have vowed to remain on strike until their payments are fulfilled. However, the facilities management led by Simon Buru insists that they have not received the full 11 million shillings owed by NHIF and SHIF, and the little money available is being used to sustain operations.
Kazi haijakuwa smooth. Tumekuwa tukisafa about pesa, tukaenda kuitisha pesa yetu, unapata hatupewi, tunaambiwa NHIF, tunangoja NHIF atulipi. For now tuko almost 7 months na hatujalipwa na tuko na bills tunafaa kulipa, so tunaomba tupewe haki yetu.
As the impasse continues, patients remain the biggest victims, and a resolution is urgently needed to restore critical health services in the county. Brenda Nyongesa, KUTV.
And President William Ruto attended the inauguration ceremony of Ghana's new president, or comeback president, that is John Mahama, in Accra today. During his visit, President Ruto continued campaigning for Raila Odinga in his bid to become the chairperson of the African Union Commission, AUC. President Ruto met with various heads of state and vice presidents from different countries, including Togo's President Faure Gnassingbé and the Vice President of Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Nguema. The government has been urged to reconsider the planned phasing out of private children's home lest children slide back to destitute. The government, through the National Council for Children's Services, has been implementing foster care reforms since 2022 to allow children to grow up in family-oriented environments which are considered more beneficial for their social and emotional development.
And the children are being brought by the Ministry of Children's Department here in Likoni. We have an office. Our children go until high school, up to university level. We have a few who are in the university and we have a few who are in the colleges. Some of the children go as far as boarding school. We have children who are also they're learning within the community here in Likoni. There is a challenge now at the moment that the government is closing down institutions like these ones, but it's a big challenge to us as people who are taking care of the children, because imagine if the institution has been closed down, where will these children go? Some of these children will they come from the street. Some of these children were abandoned. Some of these children were sexually defiled. So by the parent, real parent, and now they are here being protected and safeguarded. So the government, if they are closing down, they need to rethink.
It is 13 minutes past 9 p.m. Time for us to take a short break here on KUTV Primetime News. It's Tuesday, 7th of January. See you in a bit.
Katika maisha yetu ya leo, wakulima na jamii nyingi kwa ujumla wanakumbatia teknolojia mbalimbali na kilimo hai ili kuondoa magonjwa sugu na kuongeza usalama na utoshelevu wa chakula. Mbolea asili imepunguza asidi kwenye udongo na kuongeza mavuno chungu nzima. Wajua tuko shambani, na humu shambani pia kuna ng'ombe, kuna kuku, na wanaacha uchafu wao. Na huo uchafu si wa kutupwa, ni wa kutumika katika kilimo kama mbolea. Kwa sababu mimea hii imekuwa kutumia mbolea ya hawa wanyama. Wakulima mbalimbali wamekumbatia teknolojia ili kuokoa gharama ya ukulima na kutumia nafasi zilizopo katika mashamba yao.
access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake nami Caroline Kimweli.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila woga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Welcome back. Remember, you can stream this live broadcast as well on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya, where we're streaming live, and of course a live conversation happening on X at KUTV_Kenya. We move on. Now, in a bid to enhance its visa-free policy introduced in January 2024, Kenya has taken steps to streamline its electronic travel authorization ETA system. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki chaired an inter-ministerial review meeting aimed at refining administrative and procedural aspects of the system. This follows a year of successful implementation, requiring all travelers to secure advanced travel authorization for entry. The meeting sought to build consensus on measures to ensure greater convenience for visitors traveling for business, tourism, or social purposes, while safeguarding homeland security. It's known as poor man's cocaine. The illegal drug Captagon was a major moneymaker for the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Now the rebels who overthrew him have been dismantling state-run factories that produce a stimulant. Reporter John Cabases Vega went inside one of the largest in the region and has more in this report narrated by Veronica Villanfan.
Driving about 20 kilometers northeast of Damascus, the road leads to a remote area of Douma and this factory. It once produced potato chips, but President Bashar al-Assad's regime repurposed it to manufacture Captagon, the banned stimulant often called poor man's cocaine.
The al-Assad clan were the largest drug producers in the world.
Basel is a member of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the rebel group that overthrew Assad and is now in power. He preferred not to give his last name. Inside these electrical boxes, he reveals hidden stockpiles of the amphetamine-like stimulant prepared for export.
All the Captagon hidden here is the responsibility of Maher al-Assad, Bashar's brother, and their allies. They hid the pills inside these electrical devices with up to 2 kilograms of Captagon in each device and distributed them to countries all over the world.
Experts say the Captagon trade became a critical financial lifeline for the Assad regime, helping mitigate the impact of international sanctions. The drug generated roughly $2.4 billion of profit per year for the Assad family, according to the New Lines Institute. At the factory, tools and chemicals used to produce Captagon are still visible. Boxes filled with pills are scattered across the site, alongside packaging materials designed to disguise the drug trade. Captagon, they say, was often smuggled inside orange juice boxes, electronic components, and even high-end furniture. HTS rebels say workers set the factory on fire before fleeing, likely in an attempt to destroy evidence. They say they have discovered up to 160 similar facilities across Syria. They also found documents detailing commercial activity, including records of buyers that list countries, companies, and individuals. In 2023, the British government estimated that 80% of the world's supply of Captagon came from Syria. Now, HTS rebels claim it is time to end drug production in the country. They say that selling drugs to fund their operations does not align with their values. For Joan Cabasés Vega in Douma, Syria, Veronica Villafañe, VOA News.
Now, U.S. Congress Monday certified President-elect Donald Trump's 2024 electoral win. The occasion came on the 4th anniversary of the attack of the U.S. Capitol building by supporters of the Republican candidate and then 45th president to overturn the certification of President Joe Biden's 2020 electoral victory.
4 years after the most tumultuous certification of election results in U.S. history, a quiet and orderly process Monday, as the U.S. Congress certifies that Donald Trump won the 2024 election. The new Senate Majority Leader John Thune hailed the victory.
Republicans improved our margins in nearly 90% of counties in the United States and grew support with nearly every demographic group. The Republican coalition is broad and strong and growing. Now the work begins of delivering on our agenda. And Mr. President, Republicans are ready to go.
Despite her loss to Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris fulfilled her constitutional duty of presiding over the certification of the election. Only 2 other sitting U.S. vice presidents have presided over electoral counts after their losses for the presidency: Richard Nixon in 1961 and Al Gore in 2001.
For president and vice president.
In a taped statement earlier Monday, Harris emphasized the importance of a peaceful transfer of power.
This duty is a sacred obligation, one I will uphold, guided by love of country, loyalty to our Constitution, and my unwavering faith in the American people.
One analyst told VOA that duty is part of a long tradition of American leaders respecting the democratic process.
This is her role to play, that she's going to carry it out purposefully and as intended. And that just shows the commitment to a peaceful transfer of power, even and especially if you are the one on the losing end of the election. It shows a strength and a commitment to these ideals, something that we've taken for granted for too long and now need to return to.
But congressional Democrats say January 6, 2021 should not be forgotten.
Far too many individuals have tried to rewrite the history of January 6th, have tried to sweep the truth under the rug and pretend like the day was perfectly fine or even a moment of great patriotism. That is a lie, plain and simple.
In 2022, a congressional committee composed of 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans placed the blame for January 6 on Trump for repeating lies about election fraud and allegedly inciting supporters to attack the U.S. Capitol.
Because we are not fair weather patriots.
But Trump and many of his supporters have criticized the work of the committee as biased and suggested criminal defendants in January 6 cases should be pardoned. Trump will be sworn in for his 2nd term as president on January 20th. Catherine Gibson, VOA News, Washington.
Welcome back. Time for us to get sporty, and we begin with a story about Mapinduzi Cup, where Harambee Stars have thrashed Tanzania on their Mapinduzi Cup match. A goal scored by Boniface Mutegi and Ryan Ogam, and the win takes Francis Kimanzi to top place in the 4-team tournament, even as they get ready for the final group game. So Kenya has now beaten the rivals in East Africa in the last 4 games, with Tanzanians match that ended minutes ago being the last one. Stay tuned to KUTV for more information on Mapinduzi Cup, courtesy of our newsroom. And internationally, Nottingham Forest thrashed Wolves 3-0 in the English Premier League at Molineux Stadium. Morgan Gibbs White opened the score sheet in the 7th minute, followed by Chris Wood doubling the lead in the 44th minute. Taiwo Awoniyi sealed the victory in stoppage time, netting a superb goal in the 94th minute. Switching to tonight's English Football League Cup action, Arsenal is set to clash with Newcastle at the Emirates Stadium at 11 p.m. All right, kudos to Harambee Stars, or should I say Harambee Stars Hoye, for the good job tonight. And of course, that brings us to the close of our bulletin tonight. Be sure to join us tomorrow, same time, same place, for KUTV Prime Time News. Right now, we take you back to our normal programming of educative and informative programs, courtesy of KUTV, a new experience. Our sign language interpreter is Lucy Kiarie. My name is Mutegi K. Martin. Good night.